Marketing is everywhere, from the ads we see on social media to the billboards on highways. It shapes our choices and influences our lives. But where did it all begin? Today, we'll take a journey through time to explore the history of marketing, how it started, how it evolved, and what the future holds. Marketing is more than just selling a product. It's about understanding people, what they need, what they desire, and how they make decisions. By tracing marketing's evolution, we gain insights into not just business strategies, but also human behavior and societal shifts. In this session, we will cover 5 major phases of marketing: its ancient roots, the rise of mass marketing, the golden age of advertising, the digital revolution, and the future of marketing. By the end, you'll have a clear understanding of how we got here and where marketing is headed. Before we dive in, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more marketing insights from AMZG Agency. Marketing, at its core, is about communication, and communication between buyers and sellers has existed for thousands of years. In ancient civilizations, merchants relied on word of mouth to attract buyers. Early forms of branding existed too. Potters and blacksmiths would mark their products with symbols to indicate quality and craftsmanship. Let's take a look at ancient Egypt, where traders would use hieroglyphics on their goods to indicate origin and quality. Merchants along the Nile developed marketplaces, where sellers used persuasive techniques, such as describing the benefits of their goods to attract buyers. In ancient Greece and Rome, bustling markets were filled with town criers who advertised goods and services, acting as the first real, live advertisements. These markets became key economic hubs, with vendors competing for customers' attention. The Romans, in particular, pioneered signage, with painted advertisements on walls, what we might consider early billboards, promoting everything from wine to gladiator games. Trade routes, such as the Silk Road, expanded commerce and marketing efforts across continents. Traders from China, India, the Middle East, and Europe had to learn how to appeal to diverse customers, adapting their marketing messages based on cultural preferences. This period saw the emergence of branding in a more sophisticated form. Silk weavers and spice merchants would package their products with unique identifiers, ensuring buyers could recognize high-quality goods and differentiate them from imitations. As trade expanded, so did marketing techniques. The medieval period saw the rise of guilds, where craftsmen would create distinct markings on their goods to build reputation and customer loyalty. Guilds also controlled quality standards, similar to today's brand reputation management. Medieval fairs became crucial marketing events where merchants displayed their products, engaged in promotional tactics, and leveraged personal selling to attract buyers. The Renaissance period further advanced marketing as economies flourished, and merchants sought innovative ways to attract customers. With an increase in literacy rates, handwritten advertisements and flyers began to appear in European cities. Merchants would distribute pamphlets to promote new goods, discounts, and events. Fast forward to the printing press revolution in the 15th century, and we see marketing taking on a new form. The ability to mass-produce printed materials allowed businesses to promote their products to a wider audience. Flyers, posters, and early catalogs emerged as marketing tools. This marked the beginning of a shift from localized word-of-mouth marketing to broader printed advertisements that could reach multiple cities and regions. One of the earliest known print advertisements was a hand bill published in the late 15th century in England, promoting a book for sale. As printing technology advanced, newspapers began incorporating advertisements, leading to the birth of classified ads. These developments set the stage for modern marketing. By the 17th and 18th centuries, Newspapers and magazines became widely distributed, allowing businesses to publish advertisements regularly. With the rise of coffee houses and social clubs, businesses would sponsor events and distribute pamphlets, creating a form of early public relations. As we approach the Industrial Revolution, marketing begins to shift dramatically. The ability to produce goods on a large scale required new ways to market them beyond local towns and villages. This leads us into the next major phase of marketing evolution. Cave paintings weren't just art, early marketing tactics. Imagine a time when the world was a vast, untamed wilderness. Early humans, our ancestors, roamed the earth, hunting and gathering to survive. In this primal world, communication was crucial, but how did they communicate complex ideas, stories, and knowledge without a written language? They turned to the walls of caves, using them as canvases to convey their messages. These cave paintings, often depicting animals and hunting scenes, were more than mere decorations. They were early marketing tactics, a way to share information and attract others to their cause. Picture a group of hunters returning from a successful hunt. They gather around a fire, recounting their adventure. One of them picks up a piece of charcoal and begins to draw on the cave wall. The others watch in awe as the story comes to life through the images. This act of storytelling through art was a powerful tool for early humans. It allowed them to pass down knowledge, share experiences, and build a sense of community. These cave paintings were not just art, they were a means of communication, a way to connect with others, and leave a lasting legacy. Think about those cave paintings. They weren't just art, they were a form of early marketing, a way to convey messages and attract attention. Imagine a hunter drawing a scene of a successful hunt, showcasing their skills and prowess. This not only served as a record of their achievement, but also as a way to attract others to join their group. It was a form of advertising, a way to promote their abilities and build a reputation. These early marketing tactics were essential for survival in a harsh and unforgiving world. They helped early humans communicate important information, share knowledge, and build social bonds. The cave paintings were a testament to their creativity and ingenuity, a way to leave a mark on the world and ensure their stories were remembered. They were stories. They were a way to communicate, to pass down knowledge, to attract others. These cave paintings were a form of visual storytelling, a way to convey complex ideas and emotions without words. They depicted scenes of daily life, hunting expeditions, and spiritual rituals. Each painting told a story, capturing the essence of the human experience. These stories were passed down from generation to generation, preserving the knowledge and wisdom of the past. The cave paintings were a way to connect with the ancestors, to honor their achievements, and learn from their experiences. They were a bridge between the past and the present, a way to keep the traditions and culture alive. The cave paintings were not just art, they were a powerful tool for communication and connection. Fast forward a few thousand years. The ancient Egyptians, masters of symbolism. They took the concept of visual storytelling to a whole new level. Their hieroglyphics were a sophisticated system of writing that combined symbols and images to convey complex ideas and narratives. The walls of their temples and tombs were adorned with intricate carvings and paintings, each telling a story of gods, pharaohs, and the afterlife. The ancient Egyptians understood the power of visuals and used them to communicate their beliefs, values, and achievements. Their hieroglyphics were not just a form of writing. They were a way to connect with the divine and ensure their legacy would endure for eternity. They used hieroglyphics to tell stories about their pharaohs, their gods, their products. The ancient Egyptians were master marketers, using their art and writing to promote their culture, and achievements. Their hieroglyphics were a form of branding, a way to create a distinct identity and stand out in the ancient world. Each symbol and image was carefully crafted to convey a specific message, whether it was the power and authority of the pharaoh or the divine nature of their gods. The hieroglyphics were a way to communicate their values and beliefs, to attract followers and build a sense of community. They were a powerful tool for storytelling and connection, a way to leave a lasting legacy. Sound familiar? It's branding, early but effective. The ancient Egyptians understood the importance of creating a strong and recognizable brand. Their hieroglyphics were a way to communicate their identity and values, to attract followers and build a sense of community. They used symbols and images to convey their messages, creating a distinct and memorable visual language. This early form of branding was a powerful tool for communication and connection, a way to leave a lasting legacy. The ancient Egyptians were master marketers, using their art and writing to promote their culture and achievements. Their hieroglyphics were a testament to their creativity and ingenuity, a way to ensure their stories were remembered for eternity. They understood the power of visuals, of storytelling, of standing out. The ancient Egyptians were masters of visual communication, using their art and writing to convey complex ideas and narratives. Their hieroglyphics were a sophisticated system of writing that combined symbols and images to create a distinct and memorable visual language. They used their art to tell stories, to communicate their beliefs and values, and to attract followers. Their hieroglyphics were a form of branding, a way to create a strong and recognizable identity. The ancient Egyptians understood the importance of standing out and creating a lasting legacy. Their art and writing were a powerful tool for communication and connection, a way to ensure their stories were remembered for eternity, just like we do today. Think about the pyramids. They weren't just tombs. The pyramids were massive structures that served as a testament to the power and wealth of the pharaohs. They were a form of advertising, a way to showcase the achievements and authority of the rulers. The pyramids were a symbol of the pharaoh's divine right to rule, a way to attract followers and build a sense of community. They were a powerful tool for communication and connection, a way to leave a lasting legacy. The pyramids were not just tombs, they were a form of branding, a way to create a strong and recognizable identity. The ancient Egyptians understood the importance of standing out and creating a lasting legacy. Their pyramids were a testament to their creativity and ingenuity, a way to ensure their stories were remembered for eternity. They were massive billboards proclaiming the power and wealth of the pharaohs. The pyramids were a form of advertising, a way to showcase the achievements and authority of the rulers. They were a symbol of the pharaoh's divine right to rule, a way to attract followers and build a sense of community. The pyramids were a powerful tool for communication and connection, a way to leave a lasting legacy. They were not just tombs, they were a form of branding, a way to create a strong and recognizable identity. The ancient Egyptians understood the importance of standing out and creating a lasting legacy. Their pyramids were a testament to their creativity and ingenuity, a way to ensure their stories were remembered for eternity. They were Instagram-worthy before Instagram even existed. The pyramids were a form of advertising, a way to showcase the achievements and authority of the rulers. They were a symbol of the pharaoh's divine right to rule, a way to attract followers and build a sense of community. The pyramids were a powerful tool for communication and connection, a way to leave a lasting legacy. They were not just tombs, they were a form of branding, a way to create a strong and recognizable identity. The ancient Egyptians understood the importance of standing out and creating a lasting legacy. Their pyramids were a testament to their creativity and ingenuity, a way to ensure their stories were remembered for eternity. The pyramids were Instagram-worthy before Instagram even existed, a symbol of the pharaoh's power and wealth that continues to captivate and inspire people to this day. the birth of branding from family crests to Coca-Cola. Branding has been an integral part of human history, evolving through the ages to become the sophisticated marketing tool we know today. It all began with simple symbols and marks that represented families, trades, and values. These early forms of branding were not just about identification. They were about conveying a message, a story, and a legacy. Let's take a journey through time to explore how branding has transformed from ancient family crests to the iconic Coca-Cola logo. The Romans were next. They took branding to the next level with their family crests. These crests were more than just decorative symbols. They were a representation of a family's lineage, values, and power. Each crest was meticulously designed to convey a specific message about the family's heritage and social standing. The use of family crests became a widespread practice among the Roman elite, serving as a way to differentiate themselves from others and to assert their dominance in society. These symbols represented lineage, values, and power. They were a visual representation of a family's history and achievements, often incorporating elements that signified their contributions to society or their military prowess. The intricate designs and careful selection of symbols in these crests were a testament to the importance of branding in ancient Rome. It was a way for families to communicate their identity and to leave a lasting impression on those who saw their crest. They were a way to differentiate themselves. In a society where social status and family heritage were of utmost importance, having a unique and recognizable crest was crucial. It allowed families to stand out and to be easily identified by others. The use of family crests also extended to various aspects of daily life, including architecture, clothing, and personal belongings. This widespread use of branding in ancient Rome laid the foundation for the development of more complex branding practices in the future. The Middle Ages saw the rise of guilds, blacksmiths, bakers, candlestick makers. These guilds were associations of craftsmen and merchants who came together to protect their interests and to regulate their trades. Each guild had its own unique symbol or mark that represented the quality and authenticity of their products. These marks were a form of branding that helped consumers identify and trust the goods produced by a particular guild. The use of guild marks became a standard practice in medieval Europe, further solidifying the importance of branding in commerce. They all had their own marks, their own standards. These marks were not just about identification. They were a guarantee of quality and craftsmanship. Consumers relied on these marks to ensure that they were purchasing goods that met certain standards. The use of guild marks also helped to build trust and loyalty among consumers, as they could easily recognize and associate the marks with reputable guilds. This practice of using marks to signify quality and authenticity is a precursor to modern branding techniques, their own way of saying, "This is who we are." The marks used by medieval guilds were a reflection of their identity and values. They communicated a message of pride in their work and a commitment to maintaining high standards. These marks were often displayed prominently on products, buildings, and even on the clothing of guild members. This practice of using visual symbols to convey a message and to build a brand identity has continued to evolve over the centuries, becoming an essential aspect of modern branding. This is what we stand for. The use of marks and symbols by medieval guilds was a way to communicate their values and to differentiate themselves from others. It was a form of branding that helped to establish their reputation and to build trust with consumers. This practice of using visual symbols to convey a message and to build a brand identity has continued to evolve over the centuries, becoming an essential aspect of modern branding. And then came the Renaissance, the printing press. The invention of the printing press in the 15th century revolutionized the way information was disseminated. It allowed for the mass production of printed materials, making it possible to reach a much larger audience than ever before. This had a profound impact on branding, as it enabled businesses to create and distribute printed advertisements on a scale that was previously unimaginable. The printing press also facilitated the spread of ideas and knowledge, contributing to the development of new branding techniques and strategies. Suddenly, ideas could spread like wildfire. The ability to produce and distribute printed materials quickly and efficiently meant that businesses could reach a much wider audience with their branding messages. This led to the creation of the first printed advertisements, which were simple yet effective in conveying a message. These early ads often featured bold text and eye-catching images, designed to grab the attention of potential customers and to persuade them to buy a product or service. The use of printed advertisements marked a significant shift in the way businesses approached branding and marketing, and with it, the ability to reach more people than ever before. The printing press made it possible for businesses to communicate their branding messages to a much larger audience. This had a profound impact on the way businesses approached branding and marketing, as they could now reach potential customers far beyond their local communities. The use of printed advertisements also allowed businesses to create a more consistent and cohesive brand identity, as they could control the design and content of their ads. This marked the beginning of modern branding practices, where businesses use various forms of media to build and promote their brand. The first printed ads appeared: handbills, posters. These early advertisements were simple yet effective in conveying a message. They often featured bold text and eye-catching images designed to grab the attention of potential customers and to persuade them to buy a product or service. The use of printed advertisements marked a significant shift in the way businesses approached branding and marketing. It allowed them to reach a much larger audience and to create a more consistent and cohesive brand identity. The message was simple: buy my product. These early advertisements were straightforward and to the point, often featuring a clear call to action. They were designed to grab the attention of potential customers and to persuade them to make a purchase. The use of printed advertisements marked the beginning of modern branding practices, where businesses use various forms of media to build and promote their brand. This practice has continued to evolve over the centuries, becoming an essential aspect of modern marketing and branding strategies. The printing press didn't just spread news, it spread ads. When Johannes Gutenberg invented the printing press in the mid-15th century, he couldn't have imagined the profound impact it would have on society. This revolutionary device didn't just make it easier to produce books, it fundamentally changed the way information was disseminated. Before the printing press, books were painstakingly copied by hand, a process that could take months or even years for a single volume. This meant that books were rare and expensive, accessible only to the wealthy elite and religious institutions. But with the advent of the printing press, books could be produced quickly and in large quantities, making them more affordable and accessible to a broader audience. The printing press was a game changer. It democratized information, and it democratized marketing. Suddenly, ideas and knowledge could be shared widely and rapidly. This was a monumental shift in human history. For the first time, people from different walks of life had access to the same information. This democratization of knowledge laid the groundwork for the Renaissance, the Reformation, and the Scientific Revolution. But the printing press did more than just spread news and ideas. It also spread advertisements. As newspapers and pamphlets became more common, businesses saw an opportunity to reach potential customers in ways that were previously unimaginable. Suddenly, you didn't need to be royalty to get your message out there. Newspapers emerged. These early newspapers were often filled with a mix of news, opinion pieces, and advertisements. For businesses, this was a game changer. They could now reach a much larger audience than ever before. Small businesses, in particular, benefited from this new form of advertising. They could place ads in local newspapers to attract customers from their own communities. This was a far cry from the days when only the wealthy could afford to advertise their goods and services, and with them, a new way to advertise. The rise of newspapers created a new industry, advertising. Businesses began to realize the potential of reaching a mass audience through print media. They started to develop more sophisticated advertisements, using eye-catching graphics and persuasive language to attract customers. This was the beginning of modern marketing. Advertisers began to understand the importance of targeting specific audiences and crafting messages that would resonate with them. This was a significant departure from the more general, one-size-fits-all approach that had been used in the past. Businesses could now target specific audiences. They could tailor their messages to different demographics, such as age, gender, and income level. This allowed them to be more effective in their marketing efforts. For example, a business selling luxury goods could place ads in newspapers that were read by wealthy individuals, while a business selling everyday items could target a more general audience. This level of targeting was unprecedented and allowed businesses to maximize their advertising budgets. They could track the effectiveness of their campaigns. This was another significant development in the world of advertising. Businesses began to use various methods to measure the success of their ads. They could track sales figures, customer inquiries, and other metrics to determine how well their advertisements were performing. This allowed them to make adjustments and improve their marketing strategies over time. The ability to track and analyze the effectiveness of advertising campaigns was a game changer for businesses, giving them valuable insights into what worked and what didn't. The Industrial Revolution was on the horizon. This period of rapid industrialization brought about significant changes in society. Factories and steam engines transformed the way goods were produced, leading to increased efficiency and lower costs. This, in turn, created new opportunities for businesses to grow and expand. The rise of mass production meant that businesses could produce goods on a much larger scale than ever before. This created a need for more effective marketing strategies to reach a growing consumer base. And with it, a new era of marketing was about to dawn. The Industrial Revolution brought about significant advancements in technology and communication. The invention of the telegraph, for example, allowed for faster communication over long distances. This opened up new possibilities for businesses to reach customers in different regions. The rise of mass media, such as newspapers and magazines, provided new platforms for advertising. Businesses began to experiment with different types of ads, from simple text-based ads to more elaborate full-page spreads. This was the beginning of the modern advertising industry as we know it today. The printing press paved the way for mass communication. It allowed information to be shared quickly and widely, breaking down barriers and connecting people in ways that were previously unimaginable. This had a profound impact on society, shaping the way people thought and interacted with the world around them. The ability to reach a mass audience also had significant implications for businesses. They could now communicate with potential customers on a much larger scale, increasing their reach and influence. It allowed businesses to reach more people, more effectively than ever before. The printing press revolutionized the way businesses communicated with their customers. They could now use print ads to promote their products and services, reaching a wider audience than ever before. This was a significant development in the world of marketing, allowing businesses to grow and expand in ways that were previously unimaginable. The ability to reach a mass audience also meant that businesses could compete on a more level playing field, regardless of their size or resources. It was the first step towards the marketing landscape we know today. The printing press laid the foundation for the modern advertising industry. It introduced new ways of reaching and engaging with customers, paving the way for the development of more sophisticated marketing strategies. Over time, the advertising industry has continued to evolve, with new technologies and platforms emerging to meet the changing needs of businesses and consumers. From print to digital, the principles of effective marketing remain the same. Understanding your audience, crafting compelling messages, and measuring the success of your campaigns. The printing press was the catalyst that set this process in motion, and its impact can still be felt in the marketing landscape of today. The Industrial Revolution changed everything. It reshaped economies, redefined labor, and ushered in an era of unprecedented technological advancement. Factories roared to life, machines replaced manual labor, and production skyrocketed. But with this wave of innovation came a challenge. How do you sell the mountains of goods being produced? Mass production meant more than just making things faster. It meant making things cheaper, more consistent, and available to a wider audience than ever before. A single factory could produce thousands of identical products each day. That meant one thing: competition. Suddenly, companies weren't just competing on quality, they were competing for attention. And in this crowded new marketplace, the old ways of selling, word of mouth, town criers, or shopfront signs, just weren't enough. Enter the age of mass marketing. Advertising exploded. Newspapers carried ads for everything from cough syrup to corsets. Magazines filled their pages with glossy pitches for soap, shaving cream, and sewing machines. Billboards lined the roads and railway tracks, catching the eyes of travelers and commuters. Companies realized to survive in this new economy, you had to be seen. And not just seen, you had to be remembered. This was also the era of the snake oil salesman. Outlandish claims, miracle cures, and dubious elixirs flooded the market. You could buy a tonic that promised to cure baldness, bad breath, and broken hearts, all in one bottle. Many of these products were ineffective at best, dangerous at worst. But people bought them. Why? Because the marketing worked. Advertisers played on fear, hope, and desire. They promised transformation, confidence, happiness, and they didn't let truth get in the way of a good sale. But out of this wild west of advertising came the seeds of something more enduring: modern marketing. Forward-thinking companies began to realize that wild claims couldn't build long-term success. They needed trust. They needed recognition. They needed brands. Branding wasn't just about a catchy name or a colorful label. It was about consistency, emotion, and connection. Companies started asking, who is our customer? What do they care about? How do we speak to them? Not just once, but over time. Thus began the era of market research, slogans, and the first real attempts at customer loyalty. The techniques that emerged during the Industrial Revolution laid the groundwork for everything we see today. From jingles to logos, targeted messaging, to data-driven campaigns, it all started with the need to sell more in a world of plenty. And while we've come a long way from snake oil, the core challenge remains. In a noisy, crowded marketplace, how do you stand out? The answer, then as now, lies in understanding people, their hopes, their fears, their desires. Marketing isn't just about selling products, it's about telling stories, compelling enough to make people stop, listen, and act. So the next time you see an ad on TV, online, or on a city bus, remember, its roots go back to coal-fired factories, handbills on street corners, and the very first companies trying to make sense of a new industrial world. Mass production changed what we made. Mass marketing changed how we sell. and together, they reshaped the world. But it was also the era where modern marketing began to take shape. Companies started to invest in branding, in understanding their customers, in crafting compelling messages. Up until this point, advertising lived mostly on the page. Newspapers, magazines, maybe the occasional jingle on the radio. But then something happened that changed everything. Again, television. It didn't just add a new screen into our lives. It brought sound, sight, motion, emotion, everything advertisers had been dreaming of, all wrapped into one medium. And almost overnight, the ad game was completely rewritten. By the early 1950s, television sets were becoming a staple in the average American household. Families would gather around these glowing boxes every evening, watching variety shows, sitcoms, the news, and unknowingly stepping into a whole new era of marketing. For advertisers, it was like discovering fire, because for the first time, they weren't just showing products, they were telling stories. They weren't just pitching, they were performing. Television transformed advertising into an art form. You had 30 seconds, maybe 60 if you were lucky, to entertain, inform, and persuade. And in that tiny window, magic started to happen. Jingles you couldn't forget even if you tried. Characters who felt like family. Slogans that embedded themselves into pop culture. Remember, I'd like to buy the world a Coke? Or, they're grit. That wasn't just clever marketing. That was brand identity being forged in real time, right in front of millions of eyeballs. This was the birth of what we now romanticize as the Mad Men era, an age of sharp suits, bigger-than-life personalities, and even bigger ideas. Advertising agencies, especially those on Madison Avenue, suddenly held incredible cultural influence. They weren't just making commercials, they were building the personalities of entire brands. Executives were greenlighting campaigns with multi-million-dollar budgets. Creative teams were working late into the night, crafting pitches that would eventually shape what America bought, ate, drank, and believed in. This wasn't just about pushing products anymore. It was about emotion, identity, loyalty, but not everything was in-your-face advertising. As TV shows got more sophisticated, so did the marketing strategies behind them. Enter product placement. Instead of interrupting a show with a commercial, what if your product just quietly lived inside the show? A character drinking a recognizable soda, a car with a very familiar logo, a brand name cereal on the breakfast table. It was subtle, seamless, and more importantly, effective. Audiences weren't being sold to, at least not obviously. They were just watching their favorite characters interact with real-world brands, which made those products feel normal, trustworthy, even aspirational. This kind of integration blurred the line between entertainment and advertising, and it's something that's only grown more sophisticated since. As television matured, so did its audience. Viewers became more media savvy. They could spot a sales pitch from a mile away, and that forced advertisers to get smarter. The days of shouting a product name with a smiling housewife holding a can of cleaner, those were fading. Instead, brands had to connect on a deeper level. Be clever, be emotional, be real. The best ads didn't just promote, they resonated. They told little stories that made you laugh, think, or maybe even cry a little. And when they worked, you didn't just remember the ad, you remembered the brand. What's wild is that some commercials actually became more memorable than the shows they aired during. Think about the Super Bowl. For millions of people, the commercials are the main event. In the golden age of TV advertising, we started to see this shift, where brands competed not just for your money, but for your attention and your affection. Ads were no longer just breaks between the content. They were the content. The good ones made you laugh. The great ones made you feel. And the truly iconic ones? They became cultural moments. The Mad Men era might be over, but its fingerprints are everywhere. We still chase the emotional punch of a great TV ad. We still try to create characters that stick. We still try to tell stories in just 30 seconds. Even now, in the age of YouTube pre-rolls and Instagram stories, we're using the same principles. Hook them early, make them care, be unforgettable. So next time you hear a jingle or see a clever brand cameo in a show, tip your hat to the creatives of the TV golden age. Because those men and women, flawed, brilliant, ambitious, didn't just sell us products, they sold us stories. And in doing so, they didn't just change advertising, they changed television. Section 7, The Digital Big Bang, From Search Engines to Social Media. The dawn of the digital age marked a seismic shift in how we interact, communicate, and conduct business. It was a revolution that began quietly, but soon erupted into a full-blown transformation, reshaping every aspect of our lives. The internet, once a novel concept, became the backbone of this new era, connecting people across the globe in ways previously unimaginable. This chapter delves into the profound impact of this digital revolution, tracing its journey from the early days of search engines to the rise of social media, and exploring how it has forever altered the landscape of marketing and consumer behavior. But the biggest disruption was yet to come: the internet, the digital age. In the late 1990s, the internet was still in its infancy. Dial-up connections were the norm, and the sound of a modem connecting was a familiar, albeit frustrating, part of daily life. Despite its slow speeds and limited accessibility, the internet held immense promise. It was a new frontier, a digital Wild West, where pioneers were beginning to explore its vast potential. Early adopters saw the internet as a tool for communication and information sharing, but few could have predicted the monumental changes it would bring. The rise of search engines and social media. As the internet evolved, so too did the tools we used to navigate it. Search engines like Google revolutionized the way we access information, making it possible to find answers to virtually any question with just a few keystrokes. Meanwhile, early social media platforms like MySpace and Facebook began to change the way we connect with others. These platforms allowed people to create online personas, share their lives with friends and family, and build communities around shared interests. The internet was no longer just a tool for information, it was becoming a central part of our social lives. The entire marketing playbook was thrown out the window. Traditional marketing strategies, which had relied on print ads, television commercials, and direct mail, were no longer effective in this new digital landscape. Marketers had to adapt quickly to keep up with the changing times. The internet offered new opportunities for reaching consumers, but it also presented new challenges. The old rules no longer applied, and marketers had to learn to navigate this uncharted territory. They had to become more agile, more creative, and more data-driven in their approach. Suddenly, consumers had more power than ever before. With the internet at their fingertips, they could research products, compare prices, and read reviews before making a purchase. This shift in power from the marketer to the consumer was a game changer. No longer were consumers passive recipients of marketing messages. They were active participants in the buying process. They could make informed decisions based on the wealth of information available online, and they could share their experiences with others through social media and review sites. They could research products online, compare prices, read reviews. The rise of e-commerce platforms and comparison websites made it easier than ever for consumers to find the best deals and make informed choices. Online reviews became a crucial part of the decision-making process, with consumers relying on the opinions of others to guide their purchases. This new level of transparency and accessibility empowered consumers, and forced businesses to be more accountable and customer-focused, and connect with each other like never before. Social media platforms provided a space for people to share their thoughts, experiences, and opinions with a global audience. They could connect with friends and family, join communities of like-minded individuals, and engage with brands in new and meaningful ways. Social media became a powerful tool for building relationships and fostering a sense of community. It also gave consumers a voice, allowing them to influence the conversation and shape the narrative around products and brands. Marketing had to adapt fast. The rapid pace of technological change meant that marketers had to be constantly on their toes, ready to pivot, adjust their strategies at a moment's notice. They had to embrace new tools and technologies, from social media platforms to data analytics, to stay ahead of the curve. This required a shift in mindset, from a focus on traditional advertising to a more holistic approach that integrated digital and offline channels. Marketers had to become more agile, more innovative, and more customer-centric in their approach. Websites, banner ads, email marketing, search engine optimization, social media campaigns. The digital marketing toolkit was vast and varied, offering a range of options for reaching and engaging with consumers. Websites became the digital storefronts of businesses, providing a platform for showcasing products and services. Banner ads offered a way to capture attention and drive traffic, while email marketing allowed for personalized communication with customers. Search engine optimization, SEO, became a critical component of digital marketing, helping businesses to improve their visibility and reach on search engines. Social media campaigns provided a way to connect with consumers on a more personal level, building relationships and fostering loyalty. The digital landscape was constantly evolving. New technologies and platforms were emerging all the time, each offering new opportunities and challenges for marketers. From the rise of mobile devices to the advent of artificial intelligence and machine learning, the digital world was in a state of constant flux. Marketers had to stay ahead of the curve, continually learning and adapting to keep up with the latest trends and innovations. This required a commitment to ongoing education and professional development, as well as a willingness to experiment and take risks. This was a new era of marketing. The digital revolution had fundamentally changed the way businesses interacted with consumers, and marketers had to evolve to keep pace. They had to become more data-driven, more customer-focused, and more agile in their approach. This new era of marketing was characterized by a focus on personalization, with businesses using data and technology to deliver tailored experiences to their customers. It was also marked by a shift towards a more holistic approach, integrating digital and offline channels to create a seamless and cohesive customer experience. An era where data was king, where personalization was paramount. The rise of big data and advanced analytics provided marketers with unprecedented insights into consumer behavior, allowing them to create highly targeted and personalized marketing campaigns. This data-driven approach enabled businesses to deliver the right message to the right person at the right time, increasing the effectiveness of their marketing efforts. Personalization became a key differentiator, with consumers expecting tailored experiences that met their individual needs and preferences, and where the customer was always in control. In this new era of marketing, the customer was at the center of everything. Businesses had to listen to their customers, understand their needs and preferences, and deliver experiences that exceeded their expectations. This customer-centric approach required a deep understanding of the customer journey, from initial awareness to post-purchase engagement. It also required a commitment to building long-term relationships, with businesses focusing on creating value and fostering loyalty. The digital revolution had given consumers more power than ever before, and businesses had to adapt to this new reality to succeed. The future of marketing, it's all about your phone. In today's fast-paced digital world, our smartphones have become an extension of ourselves. They are not just devices. They are our connection to the world, our source of information, entertainment, and even our social lives. The way we interact with our phones has fundamentally changed the landscape of marketing. No longer are we passive consumers of information. We are active participants in a dynamic, ever-evolving digital ecosystem. This chapter delves into the profound impact that smartphones have on marketing strategies and how businesses can leverage this powerful tool to connect with their audience in meaningful ways. Today, marketing is happening at the speed of light. It's all about mobile. It's about social. The rise of social media platforms has revolutionized the way brands communicate with their audience. With just a few taps on a screen, users can share their thoughts, experiences, and opinions with the world. This immediacy and accessibility have created a new paradigm in marketing where real-time engagement and interaction are paramount. Brands must be agile, responsive, and attuned to the ever-changing preferences and behaviors of their audience. The ability to adapt quickly and effectively to these shifts can make the difference between success and failure in the digital age. It's about creating experiences that are personalized, engaging, and shareable. Personalization is no longer a luxury, it is a necessity. Consumers expect brands to understand their needs, preferences, and behaviors, and to deliver content that resonates with them on a personal level. This requires a deep understanding of data and analytics, as well as the ability to leverage this information to create targeted, relevant, and compelling content. Engaging content is not just about capturing attention. It is about creating a connection, fostering a sense of community, and encouraging users to share their experiences with others. This social sharing amplifies the reach and impact of marketing efforts, creating a ripple effect that extends far beyond the initial interaction. The future of marketing is about building communities. In a world where consumers are bombarded with information from all directions, the ability to create and nurture a sense of community is a powerful differentiator. Communities provide a space for like-minded individuals to connect, share, and support one another. For brands, this means fostering a sense of belonging and loyalty among their audience. It means creating opportunities for meaningful interactions and conversations, both online and offline. By building and nurturing communities, brands can create a loyal and engaged customer base that is more likely to advocate for their products and services. About creating content that adds value. In the age of information overload, consumers are more discerning than ever about the content they consume. They seek out content that is informative, entertaining, and relevant to their interests and needs. For marketers, this means focusing on quality over quantity. It means creating content that provides real value to the audience, whether it is through education, inspiration, or entertainment. Value-driven content not only captures attention, but also builds trust and credibility, positioning the brand as a thought leader and a trusted source of information. About connecting with your audience on a human level, it's about being authentic, transparent. Authenticity and transparency are the cornerstones of modern marketing. Consumers are increasingly skeptical of traditional advertising and are more likely to trust brands that are genuine and transparent in their communications. This means being honest about your products and services, acknowledging your shortcomings, and being open to feedback. It means showing the human side of your brand, sharing stories, and creating content that resonates on an emotional level. By being authentic and transparent, brands can build deeper, more meaningful connections with their audience, fostering loyalty and trust. and always, always providing value. Providing value is not a one-time effort. It is an ongoing commitment. It means consistently delivering content that meets the needs and expectations of your audience. It means listening to their feedback, understanding their pain points, and continuously improving your offerings. In a world where consumers have endless options at their fingertips, the brands that stand out are those that prioritize value and put their customers first. By consistently providing value, brands can build lasting relationships with their audience, driving long-term loyalty and advocacy. Because in the age of information overload, the most valuable currency is attention. So, buckle up. Attention is a scarce and valuable resource in today's digital landscape. With countless distractions and competing messages, capturing and retaining the attention of your audience is more challenging than ever. This requires a strategic and thoughtful approach to content creation and distribution. It means understanding the preferences and behaviors of your audience, creating content that stands out, and delivering it through the right channels at the right time. By effectively capturing and holding attention, brands can cut through the noise and make a lasting impact. The ride is just getting started. The digital landscape is constantly evolving, and the future of marketing is full of exciting possibilities. New technologies, platforms, and trends are emerging all the time, creating new opportunities for brands to connect with their audience in innovative ways. From augmented reality and virtual reality to artificial intelligence and machine learning, the possibilities are endless. As we look to the future, it is important to stay curious, open-minded, and adaptable. The journey of digital marketing is a continuous one, and the brands that thrive are those that embrace change and are willing to experiment and innovate. And the next chapter in the story of marketing? The next chapter in the story of marketing is being written every day. It is shaped by the actions and decisions of marketers, brands, and consumers alike. It is influenced by the latest trends, technologies, and cultural shifts. As we move forward, it is important to stay focused on the core principles of effective marketing, understanding your audience, creating value, and building meaningful connections. By staying true to these principles, brands can navigate the ever-changing digital landscape and continue to thrive in the future. Well, that's up to you to write. The future of marketing is in your hands. It is up to you to shape the narrative, to create the experiences, and to build the connections that will define the next era of marketing. Whether you are a seasoned marketer or just starting out, the opportunities are endless. So, take the leap, embrace the possibilities, and start writing your own chapter in the story of marketing. The journey is just beginning, and the best is yet to come. Thank you for watching this journey through the history of advertising. From the earliest cave drawings where humans first tried to communicate an idea, to hand-painted signs on shop fronts, to the golden age of television commercials that captured our hearts and imaginations. Advertising has always been about one simple thing: connection. It's the art of getting someone to stop, pay attention, and feel something. We've seen how print evolved into radio, how radio gave way to television, and now, how digital platforms and algorithms are shaping a new frontier, powered by data, driven by personalization, and increasingly influenced by artificial intelligence. As we move into this next chapter, the tools might be changing, but the heart of marketing remains the same. It's still about understanding people, telling great stories, and earning trust. So whether you're a marketer, a creative, or just someone fascinated by the power of a good idea, thank you for joining us on this look back at where advertising's been and a glimpse at where it's going next. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to AMZG Agency for the latest marketing insights and trends, and check out our other accounts linked in the description below.